Look, the title of this video is correct, and I stand by it. Do not buy a C8 Corvette Stingray. Now, if you saw my video talking about the C8 Stingray, you're probably like, what are you talking about now? What are you on now? Well, I had yet to experience what it's like to be behind the wheel of the C8 Z06. Now, don't get me wrong, the Stingray, it has the same design, it has the same very cool interior cockpit feeling design, but the problem with that car was once I drove it for like 2 hours, I ended up feeling like it just didn't have enough rolling launch power. Downshifting to second and then flooring it just wasn't good enough for me. But then I got behind the wheel of a C8 Z06, which we are right now, and if I personally were to ever buy a C8 Corvette, I would absolutely wait until I buy the Z06. The Stingrays are around $60,000 used at this point. Prices are seriously dropping on the Stingrays and the Z06s, which is really good for us. I mean, come on, if the price of these cars were actually what the MSRP was claimed it was going to be, then trust me, I already would have had either a Stingray or a Z06. But they are starting to come down to that MSRP price. It's just, you're gonna have to pick one up, you know, 1, 2, 3 owners and a little bit used. The Z06s, the market is starting at around 110, 120 used. And yeah, it's $50,000-ish more than a Stingray. But when you compare the driving experience, this is a car anyone with any amount of driving experience on any type of sports car, they could step into this and think to themselves, oh my gosh, Chevy, what have you done? Hard to believe this car exists. Now, to compare the Stingray with the C8 Z06, you know, I get it. I'm making other videos about comparing the two cars, and I've said it before. It's gonna be really hard to wait until you can pay. Oh, the responsiveness of this is insane. It's gonna be really hard to wait, you know, an extra year or 2 or 3 or 4, whatever it takes to get comfortable spending $100,000+ for the C8 Z06. But I mean, if you've ever driven the C7 Stingray and then you hopped in the C7 Z06, the difference between those two is pretty much the same as the Stingray and the Z06 on the C8 model, but just a little bit more extreme. Corvette has moved, or Chevy has moved Corvette to be more in the supercar realm. And the C8 Corvette Stingray has the supercar looks, it has the supercar launch, it just doesn't have the supercar sound or the supercar acceleration. And, you know, when I say launch, I mean going from first gear to second. But after that, that's where you really need the Z06. Now, I do want to preface here, if you live in the city, if you just enjoy cruising around, strolling around, you're never really pushing your car, first of all, I'd say get like a Prius or a Corolla. But if you're just really, you have the extra money, you really want the design, you want that cool feeling and be able to drive with a smile on your face, I get it. The Stingray actually would be the far better deal in that example, especially if you're in a crowded city. Then 100%. You know, I'm like 20 minutes away from these types of roads, and this is where, no matter what's going wrong in your life, if you have the Z06 and you have some open country back roads or a track nearby to take your Z06 on, you would regret not getting the Z06 if you bought the Stingray and you are on these types of roads. Again, Exhibit A. This is officially my dream car. And I'm saying don't buy a C8 Stingray because if I would not have known better, I would have gotten the Stingray. And then if I ever got the opportunity to experience the Z06, I would have immediately regretted that purchase. On the bright side though, hey, you can always trade in your car, you can sell it privately, get most of your money back, and then upgrade to the Z06 if the time ever comes. Which is fair, honestly, and especially if you're somebody with very little to no sports car experience, definitely start with the Stingray before you put yourself in the Z06, because you're going 0 to 100 real quick, and I would recommend getting some experience driving a car that is still pretty insane. Don't get me wrong, the C8 Stingray is an awesome experience, but the Z06 is, if you like insanity, you like the drama, you like scaring your passengers, you like the exotic noise, you're not going to get old or tired of the C8 Z06. And I say the same thing with the C7 Z06. Like, the Stingray is a great car. The C7 Stingray is phenomenal. I love to drive that thing, and it's great if you're never really going to push it. But the Z06 C7, every time I step in that thing, it feels like my first time stepping in it, because it offers that unbelievable step up over the Stingray. And this version, I'll make a full video comparing the C7 Z06 to the C8 Z06, but man, the differences between the Stingray and the Z06 versions in almost every single generation of Corvette, it's a no-brainer to wait until you can get the Z06 version, and the C8 is definitely no shortage of that. This has been the craziest, most joyful, awesome experience I have ever had on this channel, being behind the wheel of this car. I did not say that with the Huracan. I said how awesome it was, but I did not feel the same way that I feel behind the wheel of this. And maybe it's because Corvette is one of those brands where you know it's good, but you don't realize how really good it is until you're behind the wheel of it. It always exceeds expectations every single time, especially with the price tag associated with the car. I mean, you'd expect a Huracan to be a lot better because it's $100,000 more. Not really. It's just the brand name and the looks, and it makes you look rich. This thing, you're gonna look like you have a lot of money if you're behind the wheel of one of these, don't get me wrong, but it's not on the same level as the Huracan. It's just, do not ever underestimate the engineering of Chevy when it comes to Corvettes. So, I mean, all in all, guys, the Stingray, get one if you're somebody that doesn't really push the car that hard. You're not going to be going to track days. You're not going to be going to back roads and really pushing it. But get, or at least wait to buy the Z06 if you're somebody that is going to push the car, because you need it. You absolutely need it. It's all you will ever need. I cannot imagine ever driving this thing and being like, oh, I can't wait to get I don't know, like I mean, what is above this? I guess a ZR1. You could get a C7 ZR1, but even still, the C8 Z06 compared to the C7 ZR1 is so different. And this car is so much more refined than the C7. The traction system, the cornering, the steering. Wow. It's stepped away from Corvette heritage, which is one of the pain points that a lot of Corvette enthusiasts have about the C8. It's a supercar now. It's not a Corvette. So, again, depends if you're open for change, because, well, unfortunately, that's kind of the direction the whole car industry is headed into. Except Corvette said, nah, we're putting a flat plane crank, 670 horsepower, naturally aspirated V8 inside of the new Corvette Z06, and I could not be happier about that. This is perfection. So all in all, guys, I know a lot of you do own the C8 Stingray, and I'm not here to bash on the Stingray whatsoever. Like I said, it has its benefits over the Z06, and same thing with the ZR1. They came out and said it's going to have over 1,000 horsepower. I mean, same thing would apply, right? Maybe wait for the ZR1. First of all, I really don't understand how the ZR1's even going to work. Like, this thing is already so insane, and that thing has almost double the horsepower as this, more like 1.5 times. I personally don't see how that's going to go together at all, but I guess we'll wait and see what that car feels like. But this is just the pinnacle of it all. The pinnacle of engineering, the pinnacle of sound, the pinnacle of acceleration. And yeah, if I get a Corvette, a C8 Generation 1, I'm gonna wait to skip for the top. And like I said, maybe the ZR1's just gonna be the one to get. Don't know. There's always something better than what you have, so enjoy what you do have or what's obtainable for you. But if you have the patience, the dedication, and you are somebody that you like the adrenaline rush, don't get the Stingray. Wait until you can get the Z06, and trust me, you will thank me later. Other than that, guys, if you have any thoughts yourself, if you own a Stingray, post down in the comments. I mean, obviously price is the answer, why we wouldn't all get the Z06, obviously. But share your thoughts on the Stingray. If you've driven a Z06, what's your comparison on the two cars? I'd absolutely love to hear your thoughts on that. Appreciate you guys for watching. Thank God we didn't see a cop earlier, because wow. Anyways, appreciate y'all for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Peace out.